While you're waiting for Shadow of War, you can always take a walk in an orc's shoes by playing Neverwinter, a free-to-play MMO set in the D&D universe. Make your character a half-orc so you too know how it feels to be hated by absolutely everyone. Doing so directly supports my channel, and it's at no cost to you. Download and play Neverwinter for free today. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm IAmPattyJack, and we're talking about Shadow of War once again. Well, talking and viewing it. This is a live viewing of some of the IGN footage that dropped earlier today. I'm slowly going insane from covering all this E3 stuff. Everything I'm interested in is being covered this year, like, heavily. So, yeah. It's been a hard go. My brain is turning into mush. Nonetheless, though, I really wanted to cover this one because this is open world gameplay and some mounted gameplay by the looks of it. Stuff we haven't seen a whole lot of yet, so it is kind of notable, and I figured you'd be interested in hearing my take on it, my impression. So let's just go through this and talk about what we're seeing on the screen, okay? Good? Okay, awesome. So the first thing we're seeing here looks like some mounted combat with the Caragors. There's an albino Caragor. That's kind of neat. That's a new, different type of one. I don't know if that's like a frost Caragor, like the icy Graug. An icy Caragor? I still think those names like sound kind of stupid, but I guess I'll deal with it. I saw like the first 2 minutes of this before I started recording it, and to be honest, the first thing I kind of noticed was that the orcs don't seem to see you. Like, the detection range is very low on them. I don't know if maybe they have God mode on, or what it is, but it looks a little bit odd, like they don't notice a giant-ass Caragor behind them 2 feet away. And I get that in the first game, it was very easy to sneak around and stuff, but, I mean, come on. It's 2 feet away. These orcs aren't all blind. I don't know what the deal with that is. It might be something to do with how the game currently is in development. I would assume it is, because if that was in the real game, then that would be kind of insane. We're also seeing that Caragor, of course, it managed to climb up more than one ledge at a time. I believe in the first game you could only climb like one ledge with them, so that's an improvement. Moving on to some Drake footage here. This looks kind of neat. It's kind of nice. It's nice to know that you can kind of just fly the Drakes around and kind of have like a good little grand old time. It's kind of like the good version of the Skyrim dragon riding. If dragon riding wasn't terrible, this is what it would be. So this open world looks pretty dang big. It looks a lot more designed as well than the other games, because the maps in the other one, they were a little bit boxy. You know, like it was very easy to get from one side to the other. This one looks a lot more natural. It looks like it's got a lot more going on. I'm instantly wondering if I can climb up to the top of that, like, giant rock outcropping he's flying under right now. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to assume that that's not part of the map. Part of the level is probably just part of the scenery, but if you could, that would be insane. But who knows what'll happen. Yeah, it looks like that's kind of just window dressing, like you're not going to be able to get up there. There won't be any ledges to climb or anything, which is okay, because the rest of the environments look decently big. It looks very pretty. This is a game that's... It's kind of like Skyrim, in that it's a very pretty game from a distance. Like, when you look at everything and you take it in kind of as a whole, the game looks awesome. But as soon as you start nitpicking and looking at the textures and stuff, it starts to fall apart a little bit, but that didn't bother me in Skyrim. It's still a thing that I noticed, but it's okay. It's okay for games to be like that, as long as a whole they look fine. But if you look at any of the ground textures or Talion's face or hair or whatever, like, really look at it, then you're like, oh, okay, that looks like it came out of a 2012 video game, I guess, or something like that. But again, that's the least of my worries. I do like the increased mobility we're seeing as well. That's very nice to see. Like, Shadow of Mordor, kind of similar to Assassin's Creed, had that problem where it felt a little bit janky when you were, like, going through certain ledges and stuff. Like, you couldn't get to things that were just out of your reach and other stuff like that. So having that extra mobility enhanced in this one, with all those wraith form things, it looks really... It looks easier to play, you know? It looks a lot more forgiving in your parkouring and stuff. Like that. That's kind of insane. I do wonder if that's going to make it way too easy to escape orcs and other stuff like that, so it kind of yeah, like, that's almost a bit excessive, really, but it looks cool, and it gives you a lot of freedom. This is more like a superhero game rather than an Arkham game, you know? That's the impression I'm getting from it. And I know this isn't, like, a good comparison at all, but it kind of reminds me of the jump between Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4. It's like, Saints Row 3, they did some wacky stuff, and in 4, they're just like, nope, you're a full-out superhero at this point. You can jump all the way across the town. It's like they played Morrowind for 2,000 hours and got that super crazy jumping spell. So, that's what this kind of reminds me of, obviously to a way lesser extent. And it does look really cool, even though it is the same animation when you're doing that double jump, and it seems like there's a big focus on it in the parkour. And it looks cool, but I'm wondering if that's going to get a bit repetitive just seeing it over and over again, you know? Like, if they added in, like, maybe he does it from a different direction, or maybe, depending on where you jump from, it looks slightly different. Something, because it already kind of looks like the exact same thing. Okay, so Graugs, once again. He's just kind of ignoring everyone. That Graug's like, nope, can't jump up that. I jumped like 50 feet, but now I gotta climb up that slight ledge. That's neat. Not neat, that's funny more than anything. Okay, so full Graug parkour mechanics as well. I'm so good with that. That sounds awesome. Now please jump off that. Do it. Make a crater on the ground. There you go. That tree didn't care at all. I love it. This, like, I feel like the Fortress Assaults, they're going to be the meat of the game when it becomes, like, very difficult to play. Doing the open world stuff, it was easy in the first game. I feel like it's going to be easier in this one. Like, it's almost going to be just a thing you can do when you're bored, whereas the Fortress Assaults are going to be like, okay, I need to take this over and this over and this over. Yet I still worry if you have, like, if you have a bunch of different captains and war chiefs that you take to the Fortress Assault with you, is it going to make it too easy to even take those over? That's the biggest concern I have with this game, is the difficulty like that, you know? Because obviously the first game, it became very easy kind of around late mid-game and after that, because you got the branding capabilities, and kind of everyone that you faced, they had one weakness, whether it be fire or whatever, but even if they didn't really have any weaknesses, it's like they couldn't really hit you. It was very difficult for them to successfully kill you, or anyone to do that. Like, I remember just playing the game for like an hour, and I would be in one of the strongholds, and I'd just be killing thousands upon thousands of orcs, never taking any damage, and it was like, at what point does that become not fun? And I can tell you that after about an hour, it becomes not very fun. But that being said, there's so much that's being added to the game where it feels like they're really trying to, like, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, they're just adding in everything they can to make it more enjoyable, so that every time you do it, even if it ends up being a bit easy, it should be there should be more variation to it, and other stuff like that. So, as long as there's cool, new, and interesting stuff to do, I'm alright with it, I guess, but I'd still like to know exactly what this harder difficulty that they've been talking about is as well. I don't know how that's going to edit the gameplay experience or anything like that, but I guess we'll see. Okay, some more Graug stuff. That Graug has amazing balance for his stubby legs. Like, seriously. That is impressive. He doesn't skip leg day. Like, that thing is so top-heavy. There's no way. Ain't no way. Ah, whatever. I'll deal with it, I guess. It looks hilarious, so that's fine. He's just smashing through everyone. Oh, now we got a cutscene too. Cool. Let's see what this is all about. Spooky. Oh, Spriggans. Probably not Spriggans, but I'm calling them Spriggans.
Where is your roots? Your abundance? Do you grow? Do you wither? No. No. A life.
Do I get to ride the Spriggan Caragor?
But no. For you die. Die. Lifeless. But deathless. A flesh-haunted tale.
Damn it. You cannot defeat her. What would you suggest I do? Throw down your sword and kneel. I will not kneel to this thing.
That's a terrible idea. That's it? That was the whole video? Okay, well, that's interesting. That didn't tell you anything about the story. It's kind of an interesting character to include in that. Like, obviously the Caragor isn't the character, it's the embodiment that the whatever spirit Spriggan thing decided to use. So that's okay. Yeah, alright. That's some interesting gameplay, some interesting open world stuff. It did show me that the open world does seem to be pretty big and not quite as boxy, like I said, as the last one. I'm a little bit concerned about, one, the clunkiness of the, like, riding combat on Caragors and Graugs. It still looks a little bit clunky, and it was in the last game. I'm also a little bit concerned about some invisible walls, or the presence of them possibly being there, just because the locations look a lot more natural. They look like they're in more nature, like, oriented areas, and when you see things like big cliff sides or other stuff like that, these were in the first game. There were invisible walls and stuff, but when you have big cliffs that are in the middle of the map that you might not be able to climb and things, it just... yeah, I could see that being a bit annoying, but again, that's like really... I only noticed it a whole lot on one map, so who am I really to say? So what did you think about this gameplay footage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Twitter or over on my official Discord server. If you really enjoy my content and would like to directly support me, you can click the link below to download, register, and play Neverwinter, a free-to-play MMO right now. I am PattyJack, and I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day.